Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to discuss about the topic meristematic tissue. First of all, let me tell you all that there are two type of plant tissue actually. One is the meristematic tissue and the other one is permanent tissue. The meristematic tissue is a type of tissue that is composed of undifferentiated, actively dividing cells that enable growth. They are found in the areas of the plant that are growing, such as the tips of roots and shoots. Likewise, the permanent tissue is a type of tissue that is composed of mature cells that have lost the ability to divide and are specialized to perform specific functions like support, storage, or transport. Okay, now let me tell you in detail. They are the groups of young actively dividing cells that are responsible for the growth of plants. These tissues are mainly found at the tips or apices of root or shoot, where they bring about an increase in length or width. Now let's talk about the characteristics of meristematic cells. Before that, let me clear that meristematic tissues are the actively dividing cells, whereas the permanent tissue are the composition of mature cells. Okay, they are the composition of mature cells, and in case of meristematic tissue, they are found at the tips of root and shoots, which bring the increase in length and width, whereas the permanent tissue are specialized to perform specific functions like support, storage, or transport. Now let's move towards the characteristics of meristematic cells. In short, they are living and thin-walled, and they have elastic cell walls made up of cellulose. They have small or no vacuoles, as if they are present, they are very small because the cells are actively dividing and do not store material. So they have no vacuoles, or sometimes if present, they are small in size. In case of cytoplasm, they have dense cytoplasm. Likewise, it is with a there is a prominent nucleus presence. Likewise, talking about the shape, the cells are spherical, oval, or polygonal or rectangular in shape, and are compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. They are compactly arranged. As I have already said that they do not store reserve food material, so they have small or no vacuole presence, as they have high metabolic and mitotic activity, as they are constantly dividing to produce new cells. Now let's discuss about the types of meristematic tissue or meristem. On the basis, there are different bases of classification. First, we will discuss about the classification that is based on the location. That basis, there are of three types. First is the apical or the terminal meristem. Second is the cambium or the lateral meristem, and another is the intercalary meristem. So as it is on the basis of location, in a short way, here is the explanation, as it is located on the tips of root and stems. Likewise, in case of cambium, that are located on the under the bark. Likewise, the intercalary meristem bases. They are located in the leaves and internodes, and on another basis, that is on the origin. One is the promeristem, second is the primary meristem, and third is the secondary meristem. The promeristem originates from the embryo, that is embryogenic cell. Second is the primary meristem that originates from the promeristem itself, and then the secondary meristem that originates from the permanent tissues that are already mature and have undergone a particular type of support structure. They have different functions of their own. Likewise, basis on the based on the function, there is three. They are the protoderm, procambium, and crown meristem. Protoderm, it protects from the mechanical shock. Procambium give rise to the vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem, and ground meristem give rise to the ground tissue like cortex, pericycle, and pith. Likewise, another is based on the, there is another that is based on plane of division, that is also three types. We'll discuss in detail. Let's discuss one by one. First of all, the based on the position. Let's look at the figure here. Based on the position, this is the apical meristem that helps to increase in height. Second is the intercalary meristem that is present at the internodes that increases the internodal length like this. And third is the lateral meristem that helps to increase the width, that is the diameter in the plants. So for your definition in detail, it is located at the tips of roots and shoots and is responsible for the increase in length. And the additional point here is that it includes both promeristem and primary meristems. Reason: it lies between the regions of permanent tissue, usually at the base of location at the base of leaves or internodes, as in the pinus and grasses, and it helps in the elongation and regeneration of plant parts. So this is the function of the intercalary meristem. Third is the lateral meristem, which occurs along the sides of the stem and roots that divides periclinically, that is perpendicular to the surface, and to form the secondary permanent tissue, and that helps in the increase in thickness or the width of the plant body. Understood? Now the second one, on the basis of origin and development of cells, the first one is the promeristem, which is also known as the primordial meristem. First of all, let's have a look on it in detail. It represents the earliest and the youngest meristematic cells. So these are the youngest meristematic cells that are present in the growing regions of plant. These are embryonic in origin that give rise to other types of meristematic tissues, as it is the youngest, which are embryonic in origin, that are responsible for the formation of other types of meristematic tissue, as it occupies a very small area at the tip of like roots and shoots, and it divides repeatedly to form the primary meristem. Understood? That is, the meristem present at the extreme tip of root or shoot is the promeristem, also known as primordial meristem. Then the second one is primary meristem, and these tissues are derived directly from the promeristem, that are located just below the promeristem at the root and shoot apices. And the cells of primary meristem divides actively to form the primary permanent tissues, which helps in the growth, that is increase in the length of plant. Talking about the examples of the primary meristem, the apical meristem, where they are found at the tip of roots and shoots. Likewise, intercalary meristem that are found at the base of nodes or leaves, that are found in the base of nodes or leaves. Likewise, talking about the secondary meristem, these are formed from the primary permanent tissue that have regained their power of division, and they are responsible for the secondary growth, increase in the thickness or girth of the stems and roots. And the cells of the secondary meristems divide and produce secondary permanent tissues such as xylem and phloem. Secondary meristem produces secondary xylem and phloem. Examples: Procambium, which is also known as phylloxera, and the vascular cambium that includes the interfascicular cambium and intrafascicular cambium. So these are the examples of secondary meristem. Now let's summarize it in a very easy way. Let's look at the table. The promeristem's origin is from the embryonic cells located at the tip of root and shoot that give rise to the primary meristem. Primary meristem are originated from the promeristem, which are present below the promeristem, that causes the primary growth present in the apical and intercalary meristem. Likewise, secondary meristems are formed from the permanent tissue that are present in the mature regions that causes the secondary growth in plant. Example: Procambium or phylloxera, and vascular cambium, that is inter and intrafascicular cambium. Now, based on the function, they are of three types, that is protoderm, which is the outer layer of meristem. You can see here the protoderm is the outer layer which will become a epidermal meristem. That is, it gives rise to the structures like epidermal hair, cuticle, etc. Talking about the procambium, it is responsible for the development of primary vascular, which will become the vascular tissue. That is xylem and phloem. And talking about the ground meristem, it will form the ground tissues that will include the pith, cortex, etc. That will be formed from the either the parenchymatous cells, collenchymatous cells, or sclerenchymatous tissues. That is, these are actually these three are the primary meristems. Okay. Now, in detail, we'll explain each of them. The protoderm is the outermost layer of the meristematic cells, which is present in the young regions of root and shoots, and it develops into epidermal tissue system that leads to the formation of structures like that are epidermis, root hairs, and stomata that protect the plant body and help in the gaseous exchange. Now, talking about the second one, that is the Procambium. And the Procambium consists of the narrow elongated cells. They consist of the narrow elongated cells, and they are located deep within the growing regions. You can see here, deep within the growing regions. These are the growing regions, and they are found at the deep of the growing regions, and these cells differentiate to form the vascular tissue system, which includes the xylem and phloem that is responsible for the transport of water, minerals, and fruits throughout the plant. So as the protoderm is the responsible for the outer formation, that is epidermal tissue, these are responsible for the formation of vascular tissues like xylem and phloem for the transport of water, minerals, etc., food. And the third one is the ground meristem, which is composed of large, thick-walled meristematic cells found between the protoderm and procambium. You can see here they are found at the protoderm and procambium, and outer cell also. One of the ground meristems shown here is the cortex, and it gives rise to the ground tissue including cortex, hypodermis, endodermis, pericycle, and pith. And this tissue mainly function in the support, storage, and photosynthesis. wherever there is the presence of choline-chymatous tissue, chlorine-chymatous tissue, there will be photosynthesis, as there is a presence of chloroplast in this tissue. And last one is the basis on the plane of division. The first one is the mass meristem. Mass meristem here, it divides in all planes. It divides in all planes, and it is found in the endosperm, young embryo in sporangium. Likewise, the rib meristem or the file meristem, like these are the cells, and these are very, and in this here there is rib meristem or the file meristem, and it divides anticlinally, that is perpendicular to the surface, and it is divided into one plane. And the example is the development of cortex and pith, that is the, it helps in the development of the gland tissue, obviously. And the third one is the plate meristem, and it divides anticlinically in two planes. In case of rib, it divides in the one plane. In case of plate meristem, it divides into two planes. And the example is the development of epidermis. And in detail, again, some examples I can give you, and the function here is, in case of, in summary, okay, in summary, I would like to tell you that, wait a bit, just make it clear one more time. That is, in case of mass meristem, in case of mass meristem, okay, in case of mass meristem, the division is at all planes. First of all, in case of function, it helps to increase in volume. And third one is rib meristem, it divides in one plane, that helps in the increase in length. Like for example, in case of the filaments of algae and lateral roots. Likewise, in case of plate meristem, plate, it is divided into two planes, as I have explained it. That helps in the increase in surface area, okay, increase in surface area, and they are present in the leaf, lamina, and likewise petals. So this is the example in case of plate meristem. So this much for today, and we'll continue the next part with the different theories of shoot apical meristem in the next video. Till then, bye bye guys. Thank you for watching. If you like it, comment, subscribe my channel, and if you have any confusion and you want me to explain any kind of topic, then you can please write the topic in the comment box. Thank you.